Okay, so welcome to the third part of this Star Wars Disney trilogy, and yeah, so this one is like I said, Owl House and Star Wars, and unlike the other two, this one is going to be set during the events of Revenge of the Sith. Like it's kind of like a sister story to Revenge of the Sith, as opposed to the other two, which were set in different time points in both in between Revenge and New Hope. But this one's set right during Revenge of the Sith, a little before even. So the story is centered around Ida and Luz, who are Master and Padawan. Now, Ida has recently, she is a Jedi Master who had left the Order before the events of the Clone Wars. She's been out of the Clone... She didn't partake in the Clone Wars up until now, and had actually left during that 10-year gap between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Reason being is because she had been basically, like, kind of... Even though she had the rank of Jedi Master, she's been basically, like... she's been kind of much for the Jedi Order, and very much like Qui-Gon Jinn, questioned the Order and didn't have a lot of faith in it. And she left, just like Count Dooku did. But she left to go just kind of chill, just chill, because she felt like the Jedi Order was becoming something that was unrecognizable to her. But she had always been a bit of a wild child during her time. And also in this continuity, her master was the one who found her and convinced her to come back to help fight for the Republic and and fight on the side of the Republic and for the Jedi Order. And her master in this continuity was Oppo Rancisis, another Jedi Master, and Oppo, like, basically was like, she was the worst student. She had a lot of potential and power, but she was awful. Oh my god, she was awful. So, in this story, Master Rancisis brought back Ida, and she basically took on a new apprentice. She took on an apprentice, Luz, who she saw had a lot of potential, a lot of force potential to her, and took Ida. She took Luz under her wing, and the two have been fighting in this tail end of the Clone Wars. This is where our story begins, and basically Ida and Luz, along with another Jedi who is... She recently got the rank of Master, and that's Lilith, who's been part of the Order since Ida left, and they're still kind of like working through shit, because Lilith felt like Ida had the rank of Master before her, and she just threw it all away to join to be like a hippie, essentially, where she stayed loyal. We also have Lilith's apprentice, Amity, of course. So the four of them have been tasked, along with a clone group, with a detachment of clones to an outer rim world that has essentially been overtaken by a group called the Bandagora. Now, if you know your deep lore, which I'm sure a lot of you do on this channel, the Bandagora are like a death cult, and they were recently, and basically they were a death cult and also assassins, but they basically lost their leader, Kamari Vosa, in the previous continuity, which was Kamari Vosa was Dooku's renegade student. Before he left the Order. So, anyway, in Vosa's place, the Bandagora have gained a new leader named Belos. And Belos, this version of Belos, is not like a Force sensitive or whatever, but he does, like, practice in, like, dark magic. And he's more or less, like, leading the Bandagora to, like, drain the life force out of living things, particularly Jedi. And the reason why Lilith, Ida, and their Padawans have been sent here with these clones to end the Bandagora was because Belos had killed a Jedi and drained him of his life. And he had a Padawan, and they don't know what happened to the Padawan, so they go there, and it's obviously Hunter, the Golden Guard, who is now fallen to the dark side and serving Belos, who he thinks is like a god now. So while this is going on, we cut back to Gus and Willow, who are Padawans still learning at the temple, and essentially this is right when Coruscant falls under attack, and the Chancellor. This is the attempt for them to snatch the Chancellor, and Grievous kidnaps him, takes him, and yeah, they're just kind of left like, holy shit, this is insane. And also, I wanted to have this little quick part of the story where there was a droid detachment of commando droids who managed to break into the Jedi Order to cause more confusion, and Willow and Gus were the ones who found them. They tried to fight them, but who manages to save them is Yoda. Yoda is actually the one who manages to save Willow and Gus. Anyway, so that explains in this story why Yoda wasn't there to save the Chancellor. He was there protecting the Jedi, the younglings more, and the Padawans more than the Jedi archives from these droid commandos. Anyway, so back to Ida and Lilith and Amity. Why do I keep blanking out on the name? So the four of them fight Hunter. Lilith and Ida go to take on Belos, whereas Amity and Luz take on Hunter. They're trying to convince him to go back to the Order, and he's like, "You don't understand. Belos sees the future. There's a power here. There's a darkness sweeping, and the Jedi can't see it. We're doomed. We can only I didn't just join him because I'm some blind cultist. I joined him to stay safe." Belos basically showed me that there's this evil growing. Like, the Clone Wars are nothing compared to what's coming next. You don't know what's coming next, and I came here to, I joined in the dark side, but like maybe it'll spare me from the horrors that are coming soon. So Luz has to kill Hunter because he's about to kill Amity. And Luz is like, holy shit, I just did that. I just took another person's life, and another Jedi, no less. So she's a little messed up. And Belos, after Ida and Lilith defeat him, are basically like Belos tells him the same thing. He's like, you have no idea what's about to happen. Like, you have no clue. So they return, and Ida has to calm down Luz because she's already getting PTSD from killing someone else. This is their first time killing something that wasn't a droid. And and she's like, this is exactly why I left the Order, because I couldn't bear the thought of making children into soldiers. This is exactly why I left the Order. Meanwhile, you have Emra and Edric, who are now Jedi Knights, and they are leading a clone battalion on a mid-rim world fighting against the droids. We'll get back to them, and you probably know what's going to happen. So anyway, they return to the temple and report all their stuff to the Jedi Order, and they're like, holy shit, what happened? He's like, Grievous led an attack on Coruscant, and the Chancellor was kidnapped, but we managed to stop him. Anakin even killed Count Dooku, and that's already wait, so you're telling me Count Dooku is dead, but Grievous is alive, and we're still giving emergency power to the Chancellor? What the great good fuck? So Ida agrees to stay at the temple, and she's like, I'm just gonna rest here a minute. That Bandagora stuff was crazy. And she even tries to tell him, she tries to tell the Masters, and this is right before Anakin comes in, saying that Palpatine wants me to join on the council and be a master. But before that, Ida's basically telling the Order, listen, Belos and Hunter were basically talking about some really dark shit, they were saying stuff like, the end is coming, and the Jedi are just hand wavy about it, it's just the rantings of a madman. Pay it no mind, go tend to your Padawan. So that's what they have to do. So Ida's like, okay, fuck all of you, and she's like, she tells Lilith later, this is exactly why I left the Order. It's bullshit like this that caused me to leave the Order in the first place. So in here, we fast forward a little bit later, and Order 66 is in place. Meanwhile, Luz and Ida are kind of chilling out, and it's actually kind of funny because obviously you would Anakin and a battalion of clone troopers marching into the temple would not would obviously garner some attention. And Luz and Ida like look over the side of the temple and they see like this behooded robed figure, and with these battalion of clones, and they're like, who said a clone? Like, who's brought the clones to the temple? Like, that's weird. Like, is this some kind of inspection or something? And Ida's like, no, this is not that. And immediately goes in the main room, and that's where she sees all the Jedi just getting killed left and right. Like, it's just the start of a slaughter. So Ida has to protect all these Padawans, along with Ida and Lilith are the only like real are more or less like some of the only major Jedi masters and knights that are there. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but Luz has a blue lightsaber, Amity has a green lightsaber, Lilith has a blue lightsaber. Ida is the only one who has like a purple lightsaber, because again, like of course Ida, if she was in the Star Wars universe, would have a purple lightsaber. So yeah, it would stand to reason that she would, because it makes obvious she would walk in the light and dark side of the Force. Anyway, so while this is going on, I want to have this scene where Ida finds a bunch of younglings to hide them from the clone troopers. She saves them from clones and puts them in the master's council room to hide them there. She's like, all right, you'll be safe here. I'll be right back. I'll come get you when it's safe. And yeah, you probably know what happened to those kids. Meanwhile, during all the fighting, to get out of the temple, Amity feels something, like something reaches out, and it's like she senses that her twins, Emra and Edric, are killed. Like, she just senses them being killed in Order 66. So by the end of it, they find that the ships have been decimated, and obviously a lot of the ships, but Ida has managed to get a little help, and that help comes from a little creature she had called King, and King manages to climb into one of the ships and rewire one of the carriers to get them out of there. So basically it's just down to Lilith, Ida, Amity, Gus, Willow, and Luz. So they're all that's left amidst all this, and basically, what was I gonna say? Basically, they have to make a choice, because what happens is that this hooded figure, because obviously that's Anakin coming towards them, is breaking down the door with a bunch of clones, and they know they can't escape because they won't be able to escape without this help. So what happens is that they get Lilith and Ida get the kids on the ship, while Luz is just begging, please don't leave me. I can't afford to have you like, I can't lose my master. And she's like, as long as you have the Force with you, I will always be with you. So the 4 Padawans manage to escape off-world. Anakin comes in with the clones, and Ida and Lilith, put aside their differences. They fight, hold him off long enough. They both die at the hands of Anakin, and yeah, the Padawans escape into the depths of space. So yeah, there you go. That is the Owl House Star Wars AU. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? Like it, hate it, comment below, let me know, and I hope you all have enjoyed not only this story, but the other 2 in this little Star Wars Disney AU trilogy. This was a lot of fun to do, and other than that, as always, hit the link below to my Patreon. That's where you'll see some exclusive content, and other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.